Hey, morning here from Australia. How is everyone today? I'm hoping that you can hear me. So I was told that when I tried to do a live via my phone, that I couldn't do it because I did not have enough followers as yet, which was fine. At first, I thought maybe I had been blocked. And then I was like, why? What did I say? What did I say? Maybe I was too over analytical and I said something I shouldn't have said. No, private joke. You know, my cheek is really sore at the minute. I was watching, oh no, I wasn't watching, I was listening to this radio show. I feel like this is really lagging. Is it lagging? I feel like it's lagging. Anyway, so I was listening to this radio show over the week, and so it was for the Olympics. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm getting there. It was for the Olympics, and I'm just cooking at the moment, so just bear with me. Anna Meares, who used to be a cyclist, right? And it spoke about her life in training and all the things, that she basically had to do to get to where she was in the Olympics. And sorry, bear with you guys. Yeah, so and all the training that she had to do to be in the Olympics. And I mean, obviously, I think it's become very, very clear, if you don't know by now, that these guys live and breathe training. Their next training session is their next competition. That's how it is. And it's not the first time that I've heard an Olympian who's won gold quite a few occasions say how relieved they are to now not be doing the sport anymore, because everything was monitored, their sleep, their eat, their exercise, their diets, their just everything. And then obviously the training and how much training they had to do. So I was just like, yep, that is freaking crazy. But Anna Meares started talking about the races that she was in, and she was in that type of competition where it was like, the ones where you ride round and round and round in a circle. I've forgotten what it's called. I don't actually think that it was outdoor cycling. I only did start watching through it just after the beginning. So Anna Meares, I apologize if I heard that wrong. But if by chance you ever do watch this, become a supporter. But long story short, here's what I love about this. As she's talking about her life and where she has gone and the things that she's experienced, her sister as well was very, very competitive, and they talk about their lives, as being tomboys, growing up in the country and where this sort of led them. But in a competition that she had, and this is what it was just such a good point. In a competition that she had, she rode into a sign, I believe it was. And I mean, these guys are doing high speed, and they're riding so close to each other in such close proximity that the training and the mindfulness of what's beside you, behind you, in front of you is just so, so necessary. And she's hit this sign and she blacked out. She blacked out the first time, came to, blacked out the second time, came to, blacked out the third time. All that she remembers was the absolute, excruciating pain. And she kept complaining that her neck was absolutely, like she was in such agony with her neck. And the coaches, hospital, Ambo's got her to hospital. And it was then revealed that she had a broken neck. Okay. A break to the neck, like serious. And this break was 2 mil from her dying, like completely snapping, from her dying, or from being a paraplegic for the rest of her life. Now, she says, while she's like sharing her story, is that they weren't going to tell her what had happened, because for someone that young, the likelihood, like the likelihood of the shock to the system, and then the emotion that comes into play. So, freak, like, this is what has just happened to me. Am I actually going to survive? Am I actually going to make it through? That self-doubt and emotion, and then obviously the fear. And it was only later on when she started recovery and she was actually allowed, she was allowed back, to fly. And she literally had to fly lying down. Obviously, her neck was in a cast. Like, she could hardly move, pins in there, etc., keeping everything as still as possible. And I think this was a really identifiable moment for her, because she says that 10 days later, she was back on that bike. I mean, come on, like that's freaking amazing, right? And that tells me that no matter what happens in life, you've got to get back up onto the bike. You've got to continue to ride. You've got to continue to ride. This is all that we have. This is all that we are given in this life. And this is really, really what matters. I'm cooking. I'm like pre-cooking, and in my here it goes. It was right in front of me. But like keeping and continue on riding the ride of life. And there are times when it's not going to be necessary, or it's not going to, we just like those doctors, I was thinking about this and I thought to myself, what, just like those doctors had to help save her by not telling her every detail of what she needed to know. Sometimes that's how it is in this life. Sometimes to save ourselves, it is necessary not to divulge every detail of where we're at, of what we're doing. I always say action speaks louder than words. And honestly, like, I'm learning it more and more in my older age, as I'm growing up, because I'm seeing that people are very, when you talk, there's not a lot of respect, let's be honest, for what comes out of here. There's more respect for what we do and how we earn that, how we earn life and living. And, her story was just so, so inspiring. And what I really, really loved about her story was that, her coach, she was talking to her coach when she did find out. And she speaks about how she managed to get back onto the bike. It was 10 days after a broken neck, and she's on her bike, and they used a clothes horse. And literally she would be leaning on the clothes horse on both sides. So I assume that it must have been like the middle of it went over her body, and she was able to lean on that and just cycle, right? Just cycle, getting back on there. And what I absolutely loved about this, though, was that in these close discussions that she was having with her coach, who she got on with very, very well and was basically like her knight in shining armor throughout this, including her family, obviously, and supporters, but was that, she was like, oh my gosh, I was 2 mil close to breaking my neck. This is where her thought patterns were going. And her coach looked at her and said to her, yeah, but you were two mils away from not dying. You were 2 mils away from 10 days later reaching an achievement of getting back onto the bike. You are 2 mils away from an absolute change of life because of this experience. And I was like, yeah, like that is an amazing way to, really look at something and really, consider something. Like, I'm just moving around, guys. I'm not going far. And to be considering the things we are doing. And I mean, I love this so much. I'm probably even going to mention it tomorrow on, the Trauma Networking site show as well. So, for anyone who views this on both portals, like, yeah, that'll be it. That'll be why. But I really, really did really just love that true life experience, because true life, I think, is what allows us to delve past, and get through and know that there is another way. There's another way. And, in this, she was also saying that because, obviously the radio host was asking her, weren't you scared? Weren't you doubtful? Didn't you think at any time, is this the correct thing for me to be doing? And she said, of course it is. But her coach had said the same thing to her. If you allow fear to strip you, so if we think too much about the things that we want to do, so say like, I want to, like I'm doing this, right? There are other things that I want to do too. But if we had to think too much about what we're doing and allow ourselves to be equipped with fear, we would never, ever, ever experience what it was to do that thing. And, I thought to myself, well, it's just so damn true. It's just so damn true. And I think that this really shines forth in the way that it's the same thing with those around us or with people around us, Don't doubt yourself because other people doubt you. Seriously, guys. Don't doubt yourself because other people doubt you. Like, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. And I know it's really, really hard sometimes, to maintain that, and to know that the ones that we care about might actually be really, really wrong. And when that's necessary, like that's necessary and it's okay. And, the other thing is that we get to make something out of nothing. So long as we are living and so long as we are breathing, we have something. We have something, shout out to Nix. I forgot what the program is called. She's on YouTube. I really, really, really love that almighty, powerful woman right there. And I tell you why, because we've seen her journey. And I mean, I've only just started watching her videos, but literally, like, I just love who she is. And I just love how she just is who she is. You know, she just is who she is. Because let's be honest, out there are a lot of people that say that they're something and they're really not. You know, so it's really, really refreshing when you see someone who just is who they are. And, you know, sharing your stuff is not always easy, guys. Sharing our stuff, sharing our wounds, enabling a freer speech of others through leading the way and through being who we are is not easy. It's not easy. And so, you know, if you can do that, doesn't have to be live like this, you know, but if you can do that with just someone in and around you that's going through a hard time, and if you can just say, look, you know, like, I see you, you know, I get you, I understand, I see where you're at. And, you know, drugs, trauma, they all feed each other. You know, they all feed each other. And I was thinking about something else. You know, while I was looking at next feed, you know, you go to the next video and sometimes things that are similar will pop up to that. And similar thing, you know, where this woman, you know, sort of, I think I might actually just make a dressing for this roast and do it that way. I think it might be tastier. But anyway, yeah, so as I was listening to, you know, her story, on the feed, someone else popped up, and I was listening to a little bit of what they had to say and the judgment of the fact that they still looked like they were on meth. And honestly, she didn't look like she was on meth. But I can tell you right now, I think it's quite easy to, you know, spot people who may still be on whatever they're on. And, you know, that's something separate though. We're not here to talk about that. But, you know, and you could tell that she was so hurt because she puts herself forward and she puts herself out there. And we accept, as people who do this, we already know we're going to get the critics, and it's cool, right? Criticize. Don't worry, I got a book of people who like to criticize, so you can join that list. It's all good. No skin off my nose. But and she was just so hurt, and you know, what this person had basically done is rung up her work. Okay, rung up her work and said, you know, you need to drug test her. She's still on drugs. I mean, this woman, this lady, she volunteers her time to help people who have been addicted to meth get off it. And, you know, I was sitting there and I was listening to it because I could not sleep last night. I'm so wired. Well, I had a couple of hours. It just wasn't, I don't know, I just woke up and then I just could not get back to sleep. And, you know, I was thinking to myself, you know, if that is how this world is functioning, where it becomes difficult to even encourage others and be a hope to others and light up another person's life with someone trying to silence us, do your best. Do your best. Because I can tell you right now that our voice is our power, right? All the time now I say to myself, it's cool, it's all good. You can shut me out, but you cannot shut me up. You can shut me out, but you cannot shut me up. But there are people, and they are wounded souls that have been chosen for a higher purpose if they can get through the pain. And trauma follows, more often than not, a pattern of abuse, a self-destruct to one's self through either self-hate, through either relationship, gains that only equip us with more sorrow and hate and violence and abuse, to drugs, to alcohol. All of the things are steps in delving in to addictions to free ourselves and numb ourselves from immense pain. And so when I was listening to Nyx the other day, and I was listening about, what she shared, and it's not my story to tell, but, we judge people, man. We judge people so much, for the fact that they choose to numb things in their way. And yes, it's hard for the people that are looking on. And it's hard for the people that are seeing it. All right? And it's hard for the people that are watching this thing happen. But for those who are powerful enough to pull themselves out of the darkest places and free themselves from the things that have control over them, I think those people deserve a little bit of respect. A little bit of respect. After all, what is the difference between an Olympian that broke their neck and questioned life and someone who has been emotionally tortured for a period of their lifetime, has tried to numb their pain, but has got back onto that bike? Because let me tell you now, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get back into the bike, as long as you get back onto the bike. That's all that matters. If you keep riding life, you are doing something correct. And as long as you are riding life, you have the opportunity to turn a nothing into a something. Wear your wounds with pride. I encourage you to do this. This is why I'm here. This is my ultimate freaking call. To wear your wounds with pride. And when we can start to express this stuff, we're on a whole other level. I love you guys. Having an amazing day. I have so much to do today and have not even started. I've been lagging. And then I did fall asleep when I woke up about 9 a.m. Had another 4 hours sleep. I would have fallen asleep about 4:30, 4:30. So yeah. Keep yourselves busy. Keep your mind busy. Know where you're at. Excuse my little chirpers out there. Know where you're at. But yes, let me get this cooling done and let me go fill my head with more knowledge. Love you all. See you tomorrow at Trauma Network if you want to be there. I will leave. Just comment. Just comment if you want me to leave the Facebook page. Bye. Take care.